If you guys are looking for more Boston Celtics coverage, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Allie Barefoot. Just like Celtics Today by Chat Sports, it's completely free. You're going to be able to interact with me, have some conversations. I'm always tweeting out Celtics memes, Celtics highlights, and I'm always tweeting at Nick Roloff telling him the Miami Heat suck. Plus, you're going to get a shout-out on tomorrow's watch party for the Celtics versus Miami Heat Game 2, which we're going to preview here in today's video. So go on ahead and follow me on Twitter. A 20-point win over the Miami Heat is how the Boston Celtics clinched Game 1, but Miami Heat are not a team to sleep on. So we're going to be previewing what Miami Heat could possibly bring tomorrow for Game 2, still in TD Garden, but we're also going to bring you guys an injury update that could really impact the series and the final scores of the Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics first round and the NBA playoffs. You got Allie Barefoot here, and unfortunately for the Miami Heat, they're not going to have Jimmy Butler going up against the Boston Celtics. It does suck. Charania did come out and say this yesterday, that it would be extremely unlikely for Jimmy Butler to come back in this series against the Boston Celtics after he got hurt against the 76ers in the first game of the NBA play-in tournament. Here's what Charania of The Athletic had to say about Jimmy Butler's injury, saying, "It's crazy to hear. Jimmy Butler played 3/4 of what I'm hearing now was a severe MCL sprain. He's not going to be back in this series. This is a rehab that's going to go at least 1 month. Could be 2 months of rehab. This is something Jimmy Butler's going to have to work on." I hate that, man. I hate it so much. I don't want injured Jimmy Butler. I want healthy Miami Heat. Why? Because the Boston Celtics, I believe, are the best team in the NBA. And because you're the best team in the NBA, I want to play the best a team has to offer, which the Miami Heat does include Jimmy Butler. Plus, on a non-biased fan here, I just love Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. If you're going to elevate your game to that type of level from the regular season to the postseason, I want to be there to see it. I hate that Jimmy Butler got hurt, but unfortunately, this does provide a pretty higher up level for the Boston Celtics over the Miami Heat. But here's the number one thing. You can't take your foot off the gas. I don't care if it's Jimmy Butler. I don't care if it's Bam Adebayo. I don't care if Eric Spoelstra is not there during this series. You cannot take this lightly just because it is one player. While it is their leading scorer behind Tyler Hero, I do think he does make a big difference, but there are still several resources the Celtics must be prepared for, and one of those is Bam Adebayo. He did talk about Jimmy Butler not playing against the Celtics, and it's tough to hear, but Bam's pretty much saying, I have faith in the Miami Heat, saying they're going to look at us and be like, we can't win without Jimmy. You look at records because we were in the play-in. Then you look at Boston's record, any case may be, but at the end of the day, you got to play the game. You got to go out there and you got to compete. And the Miami Heat does not seem like a team that's just going to roll over and be swept in 4. That's not who they are. They were a number 8 seed who went all the way to the NBA Finals last year. You cannot take them lightly. So without having Jimmy Butler, this does change the level of threat that the Heat do pose to the Boston Celtics. That's just a fact. But with that being the case, are you worried about Miami in a Game 2? Now they had multiple days to prepare for the Boston Celtics. They last played on Sunday. They're going to play again tomorrow on Wednesday, whereas they had just come out of 2 games from the NBA play-in tournament, so they could have been a little bit tired. After some rest, type Y for yes, type N for no. Coming up on the back half of the show, we're going to break down the Game 2 preview. 3 storylines you're going to want to know heading into tomorrow's game. I'm going to break that down. But first, let's go ahead and talk about Prize Picks, the number 1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I was checking my Prize Picks religiously yesterday during the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers game because yesterday they had a great promotion that if you win a full entry full of Goblin picks, well, they're going to give you a free entry today up to $20. I was watching mine, I was having a great time, and I won myself a free entry. So with that being said, I went on ahead and just picked 2 players for tonight's game. That's the beauty of the NBA playoffs. There's a game every single night, and I do have Karl Anthony Towns having more than 14.5 points, courtesy of Taco Tuesday, just another promotion that Prize Picks constantly has every Tuesday. They've also got Flex Friday as well, and then they got Miles Turner having more than 8 boards going up against the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis. So these are my Prize Picks. You're able to make yours right now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. You've got quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types, along with Apple Pay and easy deposits. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. The number one storyline I'm watching is KP versus Bam. This is a story that I have really enjoyed watching during the game, but also afterwards because they're just so highly great skilled players going head to head. You got Bam on the defensive side. You got KP, a 7'4" big man who literally has these skills of about a 6'4" shifty guard. And the best part is, Porzingis doesn't give a shit about Bam Adebayo and what his threat is. Of course, he understands he's a great player. But how he's looking at this is that this is not a KP versus Bam game. This is a Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics game. So I'm not worried about Bam Adebayo. Obviously, he knows the threat that he poses, but KP's not worried about his accolades or what he has to offer. KP is going to do what KP does, and that's score over 20 points per game when they do play the Miami Heat, because he's been averaging that throughout the regular season. Despite Bam being a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, KP still knows how to drain that rock when it's going up against Bam Adebayo, which I think is one of the great skills of Kristaps Porzingis. And even Nikola Jovic came out and said the reason why the Boston Celtics are 10 times different than the team we played last year in the Eastern Conference Finals is because of the unicorn. Nikola Jovic said this after the game, saying last year was easier because they didn't have Porzingis. I think our zone made a lot of problems for them. I think it can make a lot of problems this year too. But with KP in the lineup, he can stretch the floor and shoot almost everyone. It's really hard to guard him. This is what KP did in Game 1 versus the Miami Heat. Despite Bam being a Defensive Player of the Year finalist, he dropped 18, 4 points, that's 4 rebounds actually, that's my fault, 2 blocks, and then 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 8 from a three-point line, still shooting 50%. And this is not just a mere 25-foot field goal. It is 30 feet. He's so long. He knows how to stretch the floor, and he knows how to create space between one of their best guards in the Jaime Jaquez and, of course, near Tyler Hero. So I want you guys to go ahead and show the unicorn some love. Spam KP in the comments down below if you want to see the KP and Bam go head-to-head for a couple more games. Hopefully not too many more games, but I think it's about time Boston Celtics appreciate the pickup that Brad Stevens made this offseason. Put KP in the comments. The second storyline that I'm looking at ahead of tomorrow is that Spoelstra is going to be bringing the heat. Spo is one of the best coaches in the NBA. That's a fact. Unfortunately, Joe Mazzulla, in my opinion, is not up there as one of the greatest NBA coaches still coaching right now. So I do think Erik Spoelstra, given about 72 hours to now enhance his team to be prepared for the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat are going to look a lot different tomorrow. And that's okay. That's what you want. You want a good game between these two really good teams. Here's what Jaime Jaquez had to say about getting some time to rest, getting some time to prepare for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. He said 2 days to prepare, that's a lot of time to get mentally and physically ready. Plus, knowing the coaching staff is going to work really hard to figure out the game plan, us as players, we're going to get ready as best we can to execute it. Jaime Jaquez has faith in Erik Spoelstra. I would too if I played for the Miami Heat. So don't be surprised the Boston Celtics don't shoot 44% from the three-point line tomorrow, just like they did in Game 1. They shot phenomenal from downtown. But Miami Heat, they were ranked 5th in allowing three-point attempts against their opponents, allowing them to shoot 35% from downtown the entire season. Boston Celtics do rank 4th when it comes to that defensive stat, but this is not likely for the Miami Heat to do something like that. So if you see the Celtics shoot maybe 38, 39% from downtown, they're really going to have to try and make some more points in the paint to make up for that. And I do think the Miami Heat are going to turn it up a notch. I absolutely do not believe Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are going to shoot single digits tomorrow. It's just unheard of, especially Tyler Hero, who's averaging about 27 points a game for the Miami Heat through the regular season. That wasn't his best game, and I do think we're going to see something different from him, along with DeLon Wright, who made 5 threes in the fourth quarter. Today, Joe Mazzulla spoke with media ahead of Game 2 about how Miami's going to be different tomorrow, and I loved what he had to say. If you think that you're not going to see a different version of Miami, you're kidding yourself. So at the end of the day, it's giving what that game needs and having the expectation it's going to be a fight. So get ready for the fight. The good news is I know the Boston Celtics are ready. The minute they beat the Miami Heat, Jrue Holiday is shown walking down the tunnel saying, that's just one. We got 15 more. They're just focused on the game that's at hand and the game that's ahead. That's it. And I know this Boston Celtics crew looks ready. So with that being said, knowing that the Miami Heat will probably be a different team than they were in Game 1, who is the X factor for the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler? Who is going to be that guy in Game 2? Comment it down below. Number 3, playoff Tatum. Tatum's already said there is no playoff Tatum. There's no playoff Tatum the way that there is a Jimmy Buckets in the postseason. However, I think Jason Tatum, while he may not give himself a nickname, he needs to give himself credit. He locked his 3rd career triple-double in that game going up against the Miami Heat. And I think ESPN kind of snubbed him. If you guys take ranking seriously, ESPN ranked him 7th out of the top 15 postseason players. Ahead of him, Giannis, Jalen Brunson, a couple of players that I think that Jason Tatum is right up there in terms of skill with. And here is a tweet from Gary Washburn talking about what Jason Tatum did after he got fouled in that game against Caleb Martin. According to league sources, the NBA is not expected to upgrade the Caleb Martin foul on Jason Tatum to a flagrant or a suspension. You guys know Jason Tatum, he went up for a rebound, got clocked in the hip, came coming down. If you haven't heard the details on that, go ahead and check out my last video. But Mazzulla gave an update about him, saying he's fine. And that's great, because the way that Jason Tatum was playing in Game 1, I loved every minute of it. Even when he got hit after Caleb Martin, he didn't turn to him. He didn't start running his jaw. Immediately, he said, give me the ball, and he went to go take his free throw shots. He's locked in on winning a championship, not mouthing off with another player on the Miami Heat. He's a dog, especially when he got hit late in the game. I think Tatum's poise is what's going to carry the Boston Celtics through this NBA playoffs. And I think he's got a lot more in his bag, which makes me really excited to see what he's going to do against Miami Heat in Game 2. I want you guys to go ahead and predict your score for that matchup in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully the Celtics win, but if you're a Heat fan, you found this video, tell Nick Roloff I said hello, and put your score down below. While you guys are at it, go on ahead and follow me on Twitter at AR Barefoot. A lot of you guys have been tweeting at me while we've been waiting so desperately long for the Celtics to play again. Keep tweeting at me, keep liking my stuff, and thank you so much for the support.